Alright, so with any project, you're going to want to start in the beginning, which in this particular case is I need to remove the entire steering knuckle. Yesterday I tried doing this job without doing that, and it caused me way more headache than it was worth. So up here is a 10mm bolt that holds the brake line in. You're not going to be removing the brake line unless you are, but in this case it's very helpful to have that out of the way. I don't have a 3/8 ratchet. Give me 1 second. Alright, sometimes working in a shared shop can be challenging. Alright, so, and then there's another, it'd help if I grabbed the right socket. There's a 12mm bolt that holds it to the strut. Oh, jeez. What in the world did they put that on with? Maybe I should use the impact on that. And then we're going to work on getting the brake system off. We're going to leave the rotor on it as long as it, well, actually the rotor in this case is not going to stay on. The one yesterday did. Alright. So these are free, so we have some movement. This is the ABS sensor wire. I'm going to remove the front caliper. I'm not going to disassemble the caliper. I'm just going to take it all off as one unit because that is easier. And then I don't have to redo a lot of things. Alright, so on this Camry, that's two 17mm bolts, and I have this block of wood where I'm going to sit this so that the brake doesn't hang. So with the rotor out of the way, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to move the camera in ways that you'll be able to see. But on the back here, there's another 10mm socket that holds the brake ABS sensor in. I'm going to try to get that out real quick, and I'll get back to you guys in a second. So I know you can't really see it, but what I went ahead and did is, because these two are very small, the one for the ABS sensor and the one for the brake hose, I went ahead and re-threaded them back into their respective places. I need to pull the tie rod out. Now, I'm not saving these tie rods, but I'm going to try to take them out as non-destructively as possible. I'm going to move the camera, try to get you guys a better shot. And I apologize about the lighting, but the lighting is it is what it is at this point. So give me 1 second. I gotta be honest, I both love and hate this light from Harbor Freight at the same time. Like, it is a fantastic light, but it also gets in your way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of side cutters and cut down a little bit, and that appears to be working. Now I can grab it from the other side and hopefully pull it out in one piece. And I want to say this was also a 17, or was it a 19? This is also a 17. And again, I'm not saving these tie rods. So I don't want to destroy them, but you have a bigger hammer, because when all else fails, get a bigger hammer. I may have just destroyed that. Maybe don't follow my lead on that one. Alright. There we go. This one does not feel as bad as the one from yesterday. Oh yeah, they should kind of stay wherever you put them, and they don't. Now on the bottom of the ball joint, which best I can do right now is show you on the new one, there's this bolts to it. I'm not going to remove or try to remove the ball joint from the knuckle, because that's why we have to remove the knuckle. I'm going to loosen these bolts and probably not take them out right away. I believe these are 19. Where are these 17 also? Oh, hold on, I need to get the bolt from the tie rod out of my socket. There we go. Oh, these are 17. I think the new ones are 19. And then these bolts got to come out. But this is what I attempted to avoid doing yesterday, and it caused me so much headache by not just taking this knuckle out. So I'm going to be down here. You know, I can't really get a camera in here to... Alright, I might need the bigger gun. Luckily, I have the bigger gun right here. Sometimes you just need a bigger hammer. Okay, well, I'm going to need a bigger bar. And there goes the air compressor. Oh, man. I'm going to have to find a bigger bar. I have acquired a longer bar. You, the guy who told you not to worry about. This is a... Yesterday they just came right out. And... Well, that's not going to work. Well, maybe not the compressor just pump back up. We'll have enough power to knock this out. That is insane. Have to ask him if he's got a bigger gun. Like, I understand my little Ryobi not doing that. But maybe I'll... All I'm doing is sliding myself on the concrete here. I'm going to have to stop and rethink my strategy. So while I wait on the air compressor, I'm going to try to remove the center socket for the CV shaft, which actually moves. Well, overall, I usually don't have a problem showing sketching this. I don't like to show dangerous stuff, but I'll let your imagination run. ratchet, pipe, foot here, got them loose, ran them out with the impact. So now, you gotta take these two top knuckle bolts off. You gotta just put a socket on there to hold it, because this is a through bolt. We grab the air gun, because apparently this one's not gonna touch it. And that came out just fine. I'm not gonna take that bolt out yet. This does not have the snap ring on it. The socket keeps falling off. And again, hold it. Comes right up. And now I'll be able to take these bolts out. Slide the knuckle forward a bit. And should be able to wiggle it out of the control arm. But something is not just wiggling out of the control arm. Do I have a pry driver handy? And again, I'm not trying to save this ball joint. Alright, cool. Got the CV axle out of it. I swear this one. Let me do some wiggling and some prying and I'll get back to you. There is something very weird going on. Everything is loose, but it's just not, this ball joint is not coming out of the control arm. And so what I'm going to do is do my best to pull it out this way, but you're really not, they're not designed to come out this way. And I'll be honest, I don't know if this is a skill issue, meaning I'm not skilled enough to do this right, but yesterday the other side came right out, and but I think this side has some really crummy aftermarket stuff on it. Ooh. Yeah, that hurt a little bit. Grab my Knipex, Knipex. I actually know that it's pronounced Knipex, but I hate saying that way. Sorry about that. So this one should be the 19. And yesterday I wasn't able to get an impact in there. So I had to do it the barbaric way. This isn't even budging. I'm going to try some more to get this out of the hole, and I'll come back in a minute. Alright, so I grabbed my finest pry driver and just kind of pried it and wiggled it. We're going to set this to the side for now. I'm going to change this light over to, I think this will work better. Alright. We're getting to the point where we want to do the control arms. Now, I think, that was so close but unfortunate. This engine mount that you cannot see, because I am in your way, this engine mount that you still cannot see has to come out. And I thought for a second that it looked like, crap, my crappy tripod. Sorry. I thought for a second I could just take this bracket off. And in fact, I might be able to, but this bolt, there's this CV axle's in my way. And I think I'd rather take the engine mount out than to do the, and to take the CV axle out. If I can do, well, either way, I'd have to support the engine. So we're going to have to think about this logically, because the one bolt for the control arm is right here in the open. The other one is right here beneath the engine mount. And so we're going to start getting this strut out, which is going to suck because this is where my light is mounted to. Actually, will it stick here? It will, so we'll be fine. I had such a problem with these yesterday, and I'm going to spray them with WD-40 now. Yesterday I ended up cutting the sway bar link, and I feel like that may be happening today as well. I think what I'm looking for is a 17. And yeah, I'll get back to you guys in just a second. So I'm going to show you on the new one. The original sway bar link for this car would have a nut right here, which I believe you guys can see, where you would put a wrench from behind, and that would be behind the tab or behind the actual sway bar, and you hold it while you take the nut off. These aftermarket ones that were installed in this car have a Torx bit in the middle that you need to hold while you take the sway bar out, and that is a very, very, very crappy design that I do not like. However, I'm not the one that put them in here, so I've already kind of loosened them up. The thing that sucks is I might not be able to do this with you guys in my way. Is these are, so now you are forced to do this by hand, and there's really no good way to hold this while you're putting that much torque to break this free. Now yesterday, I'm only going to remove the lower one. Now if you were only replacing the sway bar links, you're going to have to do this on both of them. However, I may have just stripped that out. Yes, I did. So I'm going to show you how I take care of this. Be right back. When I went to reposition the camera for this shot, I realized that I don't think I was recording. When I took the strut out, I think the last shot you saw was me taking the bolts out of the knuckle at the top and then pulling the knuckle out. Well, to get the strut out, all I had to do was take the 3 nuts at the top out. I have a piece of video that I shot yesterday showing the showing that process, so I will go ahead and add that in here. I took out the 3 nuts at the bottom of this engine mount, and I also took 2 bolts out at the top engine mount before I realized I wasn't recording, and I'm very sorry about that. However, it's just you're taking 3 nuts out at the bottom and 2 bolts out at the top. I'll show you which one momentarily, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jack the engine up and pull this out. We'll need the camera running for that. And just in case anything bad happens, we can get it on camera. That seems like I've hit the amount of movement for the other engine mount. Then we'll wiggle this one out of here. Now we have access to these, I think they're 21 millimeter bolts. Here's 21. Nope, they're 22s. That's 23. I swear I have a 22 here somewhere. That's 20. And let's get this thing out of here. Alright, so here's a reenactment because I got interrupted, which is fine. So these, they actually didn't come out much harder than that. But I did put them back in just so I could do that. So I'm going to have to reposition you guys again. Find my 19 millimeter. I think it's a 19 millimeter. And we're going to need the air gun for this one. And show you that this control arm actually comes out pretty easy. Like I know I've had some trials here, but it really isn't that bad. Let me reposition you. Alright, so I also figured out what was going on with the air gun earlier, and that might have been why those others wouldn't come out, but or not. Holy cow. I might have to put the cheater bar on that. Don't ever put the cheater bar on a gear wrench. So let me find, I think I have a non-gear wrench one here. And will that fit in this pipe? Of course not. But, whew! So we're gonna have to I think what we're gonna have to do, put the cheater bar on the ratchet up top here. And I did find my 3/8 ratchet, by the way. But man, that does not give me much room to Alright, cool. I think we're loose enough. Let's get this brake caliper back up here before we destroy our brake hose. I say ours, but we're talking about mine. And man, I'm gonna have quite a bit to figure out what I want in the video or not. Alright. Why are you you're not coming down. Take a small wrench, put a little bit of downward pressure. Where'd my socket go? All the way under here. And then we'll kind of walk it down with the wrench and the... There we go. Oy vey, man. Now, this will, for the most part, swivel out, and then fight me a little bit coming out. So, I came very close to not buying new control arms, and I'm very glad I did, because these bushings are completely shot. And now, move on to the tie rods, which again, they have that clipped right there in a way I can't get around the sway bar, and there's no access to the back of those bolts on the sway bar. So, looks like the only way to do those is by like removing the engine. I know you guys can't see what I'm talking about here, but you can't see it, but there's a clip. It's a crimped clamp. I'll try to put a picture of one in here. And they put it in a way that you just can't get to it. Maybe I could take a screwdriver and a hammer and get it out. Because I don't want to completely destroy that tie rod boot, because I'd like to put that back on, even though I ordered new ones because of what happened yesterday. Yep, that broke the clamp free. And now, once I get this tie rod off of here, this outer tie rod, I'll be able to... Oh, that's plastic. I like this light, but I hate it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So that's a 19 and a 14. That didn't work.
I don't know what part you're stuck on now.
Oh, I'm not stuck on anything. It's just I slipped.
Oh.
But
Your fancy tool don't work for you?
well, you gotta have this part out first. Use the sway bar there as leverage.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually able to get this inner rack boot off, unlike yesterday. So that should help. But yeah, what I did yesterday is I just kind of ran the other one up to about that length, hoping that was right. But now I should be able to.
You changing the inners?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, look, there's like no back pressure at all on that. But.
Oh, those ones got them retard clamps.
Yeah. Well, the other ones were worse. They were what I ended up doing. These were the ones that were crimped, but they were right up against the sway bar. So I just took a screwdriver and a hammer. I'm not sure how much I'm going to leave in of what was just going on here in the shop. But I had the special tool. I pulled the tie rods out already. Well, oh yeah, the new ones are a different size. Give me a second. So on cars like this, you kind of need a special tool to install the tie rods. This one here, you have this little horseshoe clip clips over. You got this tube. You line up the notches, and if you're smart, you'll lock it in place, and then you can tighten right up. Now, I ended up having to destroy the rack boot, but I have new ones on the way, and when I take this for an alignment, I'm going to have the alignment shop. I had the alignment shop put them in. Now, what I did for this one, and I'm actually not going to put the tie rod in yet, because it's kind of nice not having it in my way, is I counted the threads of the old one, and that's how many turns I'm going to put it in on the new one. But let's work on this ball joint. Or maybe I'll put the strut in first. I don't know. I'll figure this out. Alright, I'm kind of handheld. I'm on the tripod, still but handheld. I kind of forgot to hit go on the camera. Basically, I just lifted it up, lined up these holes, put the nuts on, and here's the bolts I removed up here. They go into that engine mount. I got the bolts sitting there. And so I'm going to set it up so we can work on the ball joint, and I'll get back to you guys in a second. So like I mentioned before, we can't really get an impact in here. So we're going to go caveman style and, you know, hit with big stick. And, okay. We're going to have to, I got to adjust my angle. I'm trying to do this so you can see it. And this is going to be a pain. Give me a second. Alright, so now we got a block of wood to stabilize us. If only that would work. Oh, man. I might have to go to the vise. Man. Maybe I'll get it closer. And this thing does not want to budge. So, time for some brute force. And hopefully, whew. See what leverage would get you? And these ball joints are trash too. They're going to go into the scrap pile. And I'd recommend not hitting a ball joint you care about. But a ball joint you don't care about, that's fine. And wait a minute, I don't need anything from here yet. If I do need the ball joint, why did I just put that back on the floor? Now, yesterday, I had an issue trying to get this ball joint in here because the backing plate's in the way. Toyota tells you to pull the hub, press the bearing out, take the back plate out, then put the ball joint in. Guess what? We're cavemen. Do a couple light taps on your on your backing plate, and then this will go right in. And then, you know, once you're done, tap the backing plate back into place, and Bob's your auntie. And I need a 20mm socket, because for whatever reason, everything, oh, actually I need 21. Everything from this kit seems to be the next size up from the stuff I'm taking off. And I don't understand that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Getting this knuckle back on and lined up is a challenge of, like when we get back in the car, you know, getting the CV axle in it, getting the, you know, just getting everything lined up is a bit of a challenge. And I'm going to tell you right now, you guys know that I am not against Harbor Freight tools. I love Harbor Freight tools to a certain degree. This light here, I absolutely love, but at the same time, I absolutely hate. What you just saw me doing was lining up the hole for the cotter pin, which is actually in the bag over there. So I'll get that when I get back down there. But we're going to go ahead and work on getting the lower control arm in first. But I want to get this done real quick. See you guys over there. And I want to apologize. I know this camera sucks in low light performance. Now, yesterday, one of my biggest struggles, and I'm thinking I probably should have left the strut out for now, but one of my biggest struggles was getting this control arm in because the steering knuckle was in the way. And that's also why I said I probably should have left the tie rod out, and that's why I didn't put the other tie rod in. Crap, I have 4 bolts that look almost identical, but two are smaller. That's gotta be these guys. So now the control arm can go in. Like I said, the control arm can go in. This guy here, he was twisted on the other one. The pivot point was just a little bit off, which is fine. You know, it's not like it's a fault in manufacturing, it's just how it was. So I'll put this guy in first. Alright, let me see if I can skirt those back in. Yep. I feel like I probably could have left the strut out and it would have made it a little bit easier. But we're a little bit past that now. Oh yeah, this doesn't hold the socket anymore. Alright, now we need the 19, which might still be up on the bench, and a 19 wrench, and I'll be right back. Actually, the 19 was not still on the bench. I don't know why I thought it was. Take this 19 millimeter wrench. And that'll work. It don't really matter which way it is, as long as it's being held. But that's a 21. Yeah, the 19. I swear I'm using my entire I'm using my entire toolbox and my uncle's entire toolbox on this one. And of course that's going to be torqued down to factory specs. And you know, all that. All that good stuff. Alright, so while they're still out of the way, I want to put the sway bar link in. And like I mentioned before, these I'll be able to zip in without having to hold the nuts, but sometimes you do have to hold the nut on them. And as near as I can tell, it doesn't matter which way it goes, as long as it's on there. And these are kind of self-locking. These are self-locking nuts. But alright, what I'm going to try to do now is what, in my personal opinion, is one of the hardest parts of this job to do. I had to do a few things off camera because things were getting kind of crazy here. I honestly don't remember where we left off together, and for that I am sorry, but the strut is in. The control arm's in, the engine mount is in, the upper engine mount is in. Although I'm missing a bolt from that and I gotta find it because it dropped and it didn't hit the ground. So this is gonna be fun. But if not, I have bolts here. But what I need to do is line the two studs on here along with the splines of the axle shaft. This part isn't as important. I do need to have one of these bolts ready to go. Although yesterday I had the rotor on here, which added a lot of weight to it. So I might have to actually line these up first. If I have to, I'll turn the camera off and just kind of brute force my way through it. But to me, this is one of the harder parts of this, is getting this all lined up. Actually, that didn't go bad at all. Get one of these bolts in. That is in. So the lower bolt will go in. Crap, I think I wanted to go the other way, but I don't care. That'll be fine. We'll just put them in this way. It doesn't really matter, honestly. So the ball joint is lined up. This comes with a bolt that goes through the bottom into the control or ball joint and then 2 nuts. I'm going to go struggle with that for a few minutes and I'll be right back. Alright, the ball joint's in. It really wasn't that big of a struggle, but still more than I wanted to do on camera. So, actually I was going to do that, but I think what I'm going to do first instead is put the ABS sensor in. This is what tells the anti-lock brake system how fast what it does is it measures the speed of each wheel and compares it against each other to tell you whether or not, tell the computer whether or not the car is out of control or not. And this doesn't need to be very tight. I was going to hook up the brake line, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put the tie rod on, and then we're going to, it's going to be very hard for you to see, but I kind of feel like this might be the better side for you to be on. This has the grease fit in with it. And where did that go? Need my little thingamabobber. Because we will be greasing all this once we're done. Alright, so take grease fitting. You always want to start your nuts by fingers first. Because if you start wrenching them down, you could strip them out. Gotta take the nut off of it. I want to make sure, well, you know what, I can move the camera over here. And you should be able to see what I'm doing. You make sure you're in frame. You might not be able to see. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera screen if you'll be able to tell what I'm doing or not. On this, the tie rod goes pointing down. We're going to actually test drive this in a few minutes, which is actually kind of crazy because by this point yesterday, I barely had the car apart, and we're almost ready to be test driving already. Alright, this may or may not want to. I don't think this car is going to be in alignment with my values, but it's not going to be. It's definitely going to need an alignment when we're done. Is this one a 17? No, this one's a 19. And kind of do it till it's snug, but there's these are called a castle nut because they kind of look like a castle, and then you line up where you're going to be for your cotter pin, which is a very important piece. Cotter pins technically are what keep your car from falling, or keep your parts from falling out. But so we're going to snug it up. So I thought I did have a 19-inch gear wrench somewhere, but I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. Actually I do, it's right here next to me. And now that I've already done all that, so where is my little baggie with my cotter pin? I'm going to have to get down here. You're going to see the back of my head. Oh, actually this is kind of lined right up. So, put the cotter pin through, and you bend them over. I'm not going to show greasing all this because To be honest, I really want to get this out on the road and see how she feels. Then we're going to go ahead, put the brake rotor on. And I'm going to run a lug nut down on it. If I can find a 21mm socket. Yeah, but it doesn't really need to be ran down. It doesn't need to be like impact tight. It just needs to hold the rotor to the face of this. Well, then, put these 2 bolts back in. And basically I'm just putting the 2 brake caliper bolts in that I took out earlier. And like I said, so we're literally on the reverse side of what we did, and when I did the other side yesterday, I learned so many lessons. Because this is a job I've never done on a car like this. I'm not really, like, I've worked in shops, but I didn't really do a whole lot of chassis stuff. And usually when I did, it was on trucks, not cars. And that's the same thing as yesterday. This doesn't line up the way it did on the original strut. And man, my back is getting tight from all this. Sitting down here on the floor. I really wish I had a lift sometimes. So they did do some undercoating on this car. Oh, for a second I thought that that new bushing looked like it was messed up. It was just the way the shadow was hitting it from the light. Alright. Oh no! We haven't put these nuts back on yet. Alright, well, once we put this bolt on, oh, that could be very bad going down the road. Alright, so actually I have to take that back off so I can get better clearance to this. When were you going to tell me about these big nuts I forgot? Big nuts. These were what, the 22s? Riding on 22s, boy. And my other ratchet is missing. Probably right behind me. Give me 1 second. Alright, so the Camry. I've got the front wheels on it. I took it on a test drive. I had a problem where I knocked the air intake hose off, so the car was running funny. So I didn't get a chance to record an in-car clip like I was hoping to do. But it is so much smoother. The alignment's a bit off. But all that noise is gone. It rides so smooth. I mean, I literally went like 2 houses down and 2 houses back. But even just driving through the farm field here, it's so much better. And I'm going to go home. I'm going to get a well-deserved shower. And then maybe start working on this video. But the rear, when I do that, I'm only going to be doing the struts and the sway bar links. The rear control arms actually require removal of the gas tank, and that's not something I'm exactly comfortable doing right now. And I don't really have, especially since we don't have a lift. But yeah, so I'm probably going to be sending them back to Rock Auto and get my money back. Luckily, I still have the box, so I can just package that back up and send it. But yeah, the control arms are on there. They look fine enough, and they'll be able to use them when they do the alignment, so that's going to be fine. And but yeah, for that, I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.